Right after I paid their $212,000 mortgage, I got an anonymous video. Watch this now. I opened it and saw my family selling the same house to someone else. He thinks it's his $40,000 extra, and it's yours. They laughed. I sent the video to the family group chat, canceled their payment, and arrived with the deed. But the real shock was waiting inside. I was half asleep when my phone buzzed, vibrating aggressively on the nightstand. 3 a.m. Who would text me at this hour? My mind was foggy from exhaustion, still trying to process the fact that just yesterday, I wired the last mortgage payment for my parents' house. $212,000, all of it paid off. I should have felt relief. Instead, there was just emptiness. The message was from an unknown number. Watch this now. Attached was a video file. Curiosity battled against caution, but exhaustion won. I tapped play. The video opened with shaky footage of my family's house, taken from inside. My sister's voice rang out, clear and almost too loud. This guy thinks the house is his now, what a joke. The camera panned to the living room, where my dad was laughing, holding a beer. Then my mom, sipping wine, chimed in. 40 grand extra, and it's yours, she said, smirking at someone off camera. Then, the screen showed a man I'd never seen before, mid-40s, rough-looking, grinning like he just won the lottery. He thinks it's his? You serious? My sister snorted. Yup. Paid it all off, too. But for an extra 40, it's yours. Laughter filled the room. My hands went numb, phone slipping slightly from my grip. I played it again, hoping I'd misheard, but the words didn't change. They were selling the house. The house I just paid off for them. I wanted to scream. Wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Instead, I sent the video to the family group chat with a single caption. Explain. No response. 20 minutes later, I canceled the last mortgage payment, the one that had just gone through. If they were selling, they weren't selling on my dime. I grabbed the deed from the drawer. My name was still on it. I wasn't going to be played like a fool. I got dressed and drove to the house. I didn't call, didn't text. Just walked right up to the door, clutching the deed like a lifeline. But the real shock wasn't waiting outside, it was waiting inside. I stood in their living room, the deed clenched in my fist, a storm raging inside me. But my family? They looked at me with the same blank, calculating faces I'd grown to hate. My sister, Kelly, lounged on the couch, scrolling through her phone. My dad leaned against the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, that smug, condescending smirk on his face. Mom, ever the silent accomplice, stood by the window, pretending to rearrange the blinds. Explain the video, I demanded, waving my phone. Silence. Then a sigh. Kelly looked up, rolling her eyes. Oh, that, she said, laughing. Come on, it's just a joke. A joke. My voice shook. You're selling the house I just paid off. Behind my back. For an extra 40,000. Not selling, renting, Dad cut in, his voice calm, like he was explaining something obvious to a child. It's a business decision. We needed some extra cash. Business decision? This isn't your house to sell. I threw the deed on the coffee table. This is my name on the mortgage. I paid for it. I paid for all of it. Dad's smile faded. He stepped forward, his face darkening. You paid because we let you pay, he snapped. You wanted to feel important. You wanted to be the hero. Well, now you are. Congratulations. You're twisting everything, I whispered, my voice cracking. I helped because you needed me. Because you said this was our family home. And it is, Mom finally spoke, her voice soft, almost pleading. For all of us. All of us? Or just you three? I shot back. You didn't even tell me you were renting it out. You lied. You took advantage of me. Kelly leaned back, a cruel smile curling on her lips. Used you? Don't be dramatic. You're so desperate for our approval, you'd pay for anything. It's sad, really. The room spun. My chest tightened. Years of sacrifice, of sleepless nights wondering if I could afford their bills and mine, of picking up their pieces, reduced to a joke. I turned to my mother. Mom, did you know about this? Her eyes darted to the floor. Your father. He said it was just temporary. That wasn't true, I yelled. Temporary? Then why are you selling it for 40,000 extra? Why did you record yourselves laughing about me? You don't understand how things work, Dad growled, stepping closer. That money was never yours. The house was never yours. You never saw me as a person, just as support. Means to an end? My hand shook. I paid your debts. Your mortgage. Your vacations. Kelly's credit cards. I did everything for this family. And we never asked you to, Kelly sneered. You did it because you wanted to feel like a savior. Newsflash, no one cares. Silence. That kind of silence that roars in your ears. I stared at the people I once called family. Their faces twisted with annoyance, not shame, not regret. Just irritation that I was disrupting their little scheme. Get out. Dad's voice was ice. Get out. I laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. This is my house. I paid for it. You want me to leave? Your house. Dad stepped forward, his face inches from mine. Your name may be on the deed, but this is our home. We built this life. You just funded it. Something inside me snapped. I picked up the deed, gripped it tightly, but then placed it back on the table, frustration boiling inside me. You want to keep it? Fine. Keep it. But you'll keep it without me. I stormed to the front door, but Kelly's voice stopped me. Wait, you forgot something, she called, laughing. I turned, fury burning through my veins. She held up her phone, waving it. Say cheese. The camera flashed. I'll post it in the group chat, our dramatic brother throwing a tantrum. Classic. My vision blurred. I picked up the deed, gripped it tightly, but then placed it back on the table, frustration boiling inside me. Go ahead, I snarled. But when this falls apart, and it will, don't expect me to help next time. I slammed the door so hard it echoed down the empty street. But even as I walked away, their laughter chased me. And I knew I wasn't done yet. I was just getting started. I came home, didn't bother to take off my coat, didn't even sit. I grabbed my laptop, opened the video, the one where they laughed about selling the house I paid for. Watched it again. And again. The laughter. My father's voice. He thinks it's his? An extra 40 grand, and it's yours. I saved the video, backed it up. This wasn't just proof. It was a weapon. But I knew just exposing them wasn't enough. They had always been good at twisting the truth, making me look like the unreasonable one. No. This time, I was going to do it right. I sent a message to the family group chat. We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow. I want to fix things. Dad's reply came almost instantly. Finally, you're coming to your senses. Mom followed with her usual guilt-laden sweetness. We love you, honey. Let's work it out. Kelly, always the venomous one. Don't turn this into another drama. They had no idea I had invited someone else. I booked a private room at a restaurant, the same one we used for birthdays, anniversaries, family memories that now felt like a cruel joke. I arrived early, told the waiter to serve only water. I wanted them sober, wanted their words to be clear. They walked in together, Dad, looking smug, Mom, putting on her worried mother face, and Kelly, strutting in like this was just another one of her performances. Thanks for coming, I said, motioning for them to sit. We're here because we care, Dad said, crossing his arms. I didn't bother responding. I simply placed my tablet in the center of the table and hit play. This guy thinks the house is his. What a joke. Their voices filled the room, crystal clear. The laughter. The deal. 40,000 extra. Kelly's mocking voice. Dad's scheming tone. Their faces drained of color. This is a misunderstanding, Dad stammered, reaching for the tablet. I pulled it back. Misunderstanding? I leaned in. You were selling the house I paid for. The house I paid off. And you laughed. It was just a joke, Mom whispered. A joke? Selling my house is a joke. I spat. Or are you just sorry you got caught? The door opened, and they all turned. A man stepped in, middle-aged, graying hair, his expression dark with anger. My parents' faces paled immediately. They knew who he was. Drake, I said, waving him over. Good of you to come. Dad's voice wavered. You invited him here? Of course I did, I replied. After all, you were trying to sell him my house. Drake's eyes were ice. You told me it was your house, he growled, glaring at Dad. That it was a family property. It is. Dad's voice wavered. It is our family home. No, it's not, I said, tossing a folder onto the table. It's mine. My name is on the mortgage. My money paid for it. And I have another surprise. I pulled out a second set of papers. Would you care to explain this? Dad's face twisted as he scanned the document, and then his eyes went wild. This is a second mortgage, I interrupted. A loan you took against my house using forged documents. My signature. My ID. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. No, there must be a mistake. No mistake, I snapped. It's all here. You stole from me. You tried to sell my house. You forged my name. You don't understand. Dad's voice cracked. We needed the money. We thought. You thought I was in fool, I whispered. You thought I'd keep paying. Keep sacrificing. Keep being the fool. Drake stood up, his chair scraping loudly. I'm calling the police, he declared, pulling out his phone. Wait, please. Mom's voice was frantic. We can fix this. We're family. Family. I laughed. Is that what you call this? Lies? Theft? Betrayal? Please, son. Mom was crying now. But Dad? His face twisted in rage. You think you've won, don't you? You think this is over? Oh, it's just starting, I said, standing up. Enjoy your family home. I walked to the door, and that's when I heard Kelly's voice. Hi, desperate. Wait, you don't know everything. This was Dad's idea. I didn't even want to sign it. I turned slowly. Sign? You signed the documents. Her face went pale. Dad's eyes widened in fury. Shut up, Kelly. But it was too late. I stormed out, but not before I saw the horror in her eyes. 2 hours later, I was home when my phone buzzed with a notification. An email from an anonymous account. No text, just an attachment. I downloaded it. It was an audio file. I clicked play. I signed the documents. You said it was just a formality, that he'd never know. Kelly's voice, shaking. Don't worry. He's too stupid to figure it out, Dad's voice replied. And even if he does, we'll gild him back in like always. I leaned back in my chair, cold fury wrapping around me like a steel grip. They were all in on it. They always were. But now, I had everything. And I was about to bring them crashing down. The moment I left the gutted house with that bag of stolen documents and mutilated photos, I knew exactly what I had to do. I didn't go home. I drove straight to the bank. It was nearly closing time, but I didn't care. I walked right up to the counter, dropped the bag on the desk, and demanded to speak to the branch manager. 5 minutes later, I was in his office. I laid out the forged documents, the fake loan agreements, the mortgages with my name but not my signature. His face went pale as he flipped through the stack. Sir, this is serious fraud, he stammered. No, I corrected, leaning forward. This is a crime. I want every account tied to these people frozen. I want a full investigation. And I want a statement from this bank acknowledging that I was a victim of forgery. He didn't argue. Within minutes, phone calls were made, security officers brought in, and my family's accounts were frozen. From the bank, I drove straight to the courthouse. I didn't care about the time. I didn't care about anything except one thing, making them pay. Filing the lawsuit was faster than I thought. Fraud, embezzlement, identity theft. The clerk looked at the evidence I provided and shook his head. They won't know what hit them, he whispered, almost with pity. Good. I didn't want pity. I wanted justice. But I wasn't done. I went home, grabbed my phone, and opened the family group chat. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask for an explanation. I just sent a series of photos, the forged documents, the mutilated family photos, my name signed on papers I never touched. Within minutes, the chat exploded. Mom, please, honey, we can talk about this. Dad, you don't understand. It's not what it looks like. Kelly, this is a misunderstanding. Let's talk, please. I ignored them, blocked them all. But I wasn't done. I needed to see the damage for myself. I needed to confront the place where they thought they had buried me. So I went back to the empty house. The silence was even louder now, a hollow echo that followed me through the empty rooms. Nothing but shadows. Nothing but absence. They had erased me from their lives, drained everything I paid for, and left without a trace. But the basement, that was where the truth had been buried. I stepped down those creaking steps, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The chest was still there, open, the mutilated photos and forged documents strewn across the cold cement floor. But something else caught my eye. A dusty, forgotten box shoved into the corner. I yanked it out, pried it open, and froze. It was filled with family albums, but every photo had been altered. My face scratched out, my image cut away, entire pages where I should have been torn out. As if I had never existed. Rage boiled inside me. I grabbed the albums, the forged documents, and left that dark tomb. They thought they could erase me. They thought they could laugh at me, steal from me, sell the house I paid for. But I was done being their ghost. The next morning, I got a call from the bank. My father had tried to access his account frozen. My mother tried to pay her credit card bill, denied. Kelly's car loan blocked. They were trapped. And then the real fight began. The lawsuit papers were delivered. They were served publicly, right at their new rented apartment. A friend of mine sent me a picture, Dad's face twisted in shock, Mom's eyes wide with tears, Kelly screaming at the delivery man. They tried to call me. Blocked. Tried to email me. Blocked. They even tried to reach out through mutual friends, spinning their sob story. He's destroying his own family. But I had the evidence. I sent it to anyone who asked. Days turned to weeks, and the court date arrived. They showed up looking like ghosts, desperate, disheveled, clutching folders of weak excuses. I walked in calm, a file of hard evidence under my arm. The judge didn't even need an hour. The forged signatures, the loan documents, the mutilated photos, undeniable. My family tried to speak, but their lies unraveled before they could even begin. When the verdict came, it was brutal. They were ordered to repay every cent I had ever spent on them, utilities, credit card debts, vacations, everything. And the house was legally declared mine. Not just in name, fully, completely mine. They looked at me, huddled together, as if I was the monster. As if I was the villain in their twisted story. "Please," Mom whispered, tears streaming down her face. "We can fix this. We can be a family again." "No," I said, my voice cold as steel. "I already have a family. Me." I walked out without another word. But it wasn't over. When I returned to the house, my house, I saw them waiting by the gate. Dad pacing, his face red with rage. Mom sobbing, clinging to Kelly, who glared at me with venom. "You think you've won?" Dad shouted, stepping forward. "You think you can just erase us?" "Erase you?" I laughed. "You erased me the moment you cut me out of my own life. You erased me every time you stole from me, lied to me. This is the only thing you have left, your guilt. So live with it. Please, honey," Mom reached out, but I stepped back. "You are not my family. You're just strangers I wasted my life saving." And with that, I stepped through the gate, locked it, and walked inside. I changed the locks that night, cleaned the house, threw out the cursed albums. I disposed of the documents in a symbolic way. The next morning, I brewed a cup of coffee, stood by the window, and watched the sunlight spill across the quiet, empty street. My house. My life. No more shadows. No more ghosts. Just peace. The house was mine. Not just on paper, truly, entirely mine. I changed the locks first. Heavy, reinforced ones, each turn of the key a reminder that they couldn't just waltz back in, couldn't just claim my life, my space. I painted the walls a warm, clean white, replaced the faded curtains with something lighter, something that let in the sun. One by one, I replaced the rooms they had drained. New furniture, mine. New appliances, mine. The silence wasn't empty now, it was peaceful. But the true victory came 3 weeks later. The first check arrived in the mail, certified, signed, and with a letterhead from the court. $32,000, the first installment of the repayment they were forced to make. I didn't touch it at first, just stared at it. It felt like a piece of them, desperate, clinging to whatever was left. But I cashed it, without a second thought. And then they kept coming, week after week. Mom's shaky handwriting on the envelopes. Dad's angry signature on the checks. Even Kelly's forced apology scribbled in a note. "I'm sorry. Please just let this end." It wasn't my problem anymore. They could cry. They could beg. They could scream. I had one. The money piled up, and with every dollar I received, I felt another weight lift. 50,000. 100. By the time they had paid back every cent they owed me, $52,000, I wasn't just free. I was richer. But it wasn't just about the money. It was about the silence. No more texts. No more guilt-laden phone calls. No more family group chat where they laughed at me, manipulated me, lied to me. My phone was clean. No notifications from them, just the quiet I had earned. I used the money to finish the house. A solid oak dining table, something I chose. Soft leather couches, comfortable, not the cheap, sagging ones they used to pretend were vintage. I filled the walls with my own photographs, landscapes, cityscapes, moments I captured, not because I had to please someone, but because I wanted to. One evening, I found the old chest, the one from the basement, still filled with the shredded photos and forged documents. I carried the old chest outside, placed it down, and lit a small controlled fire in the metal barrel we used for garden waste. The flames roared, licking at the twisted remains of their betrayal, turning them to ash. I watched it burn, felt the heat on my face, and I smiled. I watched the smoke curl into the sky, the past dissolving into ash, and I felt a strange peace. They tried to take everything from me, tried to erase me, tried to turn my life into their safety net. But in the end, they paid for every sin, every lie, every wound they left in me. I wasn't their savior. I wasn't their victim. I was free. I was still standing on the porch, feeling the night air cool against my face, when I saw a familiar car pull up. Matt, Kelly's ex. The guy I'd barely spoken to at family gatherings. He stepped out, holding a six-pack of beer. "Didn't think you'd actually text me back." "I wasn't sure it was you," I admitted. "But I figured it had to be." Matt chuckled, walking up the steps. "Yeah, it was me. I filmed that video. Couldn't watch them bleed you dry anymore." "Why?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Because they did the same to me," he said, leaning against the porch railing. Kelly wanted me to take out loans for her. Fake business ideas. When I said no, she dumped me. We stood there for a moment, the quiet settling between us. Guess I owe you, I said finally. Nah, he smiled, watching their lies fall apart. That's thanks enough. He handed me one of the beers, but I set it on the porch rail, unopened. Thanks, Matt. Take care of yourself, man. As he walked back to his car, I stood there, feeling the night air settle. No ghosts. No debts. Just me. For the first time in years, I was alive.